Hello and welcome to Harmony Helps. I'm your host, Suzanne Harmony, and today I have two wonderful guests with me, Susan Terry and Karen Strang. I'll begin by introducing Susan Terry and reviewing her amazing biography, and remind you that a few weeks ago I introduced you to Karen Strang with her amazing business, and this week she plays a very instrumental part of Susan Terry's Peace School that we'll be talking about today, and a little bit about her Peace STEAM summer camp. So as we go along, this is all going to make a whole lot of sense, and I thank you for your time. I'll begin by telling you a little bit more about Susan. Susan Terry is a graduate of Nipissing University with a Bachelor of Arts, Fine Arts, and Music majors, French minor, Bachelor of Education with Visual Arts and Instrumental Music majors, International Teaching, TEFL degree, that's Teaching English
as a foreign language.
As a foreign language, thank you. Canada College, Developmental Social Work, Computer Technology Software, Radio and Television Broadcasting, and Early Childhood Education. This lady is a dynamo, and that's just what's on paper. When you meet her in real life, you'll want to kiss her feet. She's just so amazing. Susan is a visionary who soon after entering grade 1 became disillusioned with the militant industrial classroom environment. This is her words: "We enter the world as creative beings with great imaginations to guide us, and that is the perspective we live and learn from, the inside out." She goes on to say that every day she envisioned how, when she grew up, she would change the world of education to a creative exploration and enjoyable journey. Thank goodness. In high school, she was fascinated by the story of Maria Montessori and her work with mentally challenged children. Susan landed her first career to set up and supervise a Montessori-style child enrichment program with the North Bay Children's Aid Society, and later became a child care worker with at-risk teens in the heart of Toronto. This was followed by a long career in the creative field of multimedia communications, film, television, radio, journalist, writer, producer, director, and editor employed by Crawley Films, International Cinemedia, and all Canadian national networks. She later launched a multimedia agency, ICU Media, marketing and promotions, media production, communications, public relations, desktop publishing, and web design. Talk about a dynamo. In tandem, she was a professor at Canada College, project management, and CTS career training in business, English, computer software, marketing, a public relations officer for Nipissing University, and English as a second language instructor, while assisting in the coordination of the regional and national science fairs for grades 7 to 12 students over 13 years. In 2006, after watching her children grow through an even more discouraging education experience, she was inspired to begin the school of her early visions, a joyful and enlightening experience for all children, to be nurtured to develop in their own design to their fullest potentiality. She says, "Like flowers in a garden, we all contain within the birth seed everything we need to blossom fully, given a wholesome, loving, and nurturing environment." The Peace School methodology is an organic creation founded on a conglomeration and collage of all the finest ancient and contemporary philosophies and methodologies to provide the tools and inspiration that will guide children to live an engaging, meaningful, and purposeful life. Susan is an advocate of cooperative community living and has volunteered in a variety of ways, playing flute in the North Bay Symphony and 22nd Military Band, acting as a chaperone and public relations officer for a high school band during 2 European tours through Vienna, Prague, Salzburg, Weimar, Bath, London, UK, and Paris. She was active in her children's education as chair of Parent-Teacher Association for their school and through Children of Chernobyl, Canada, where she hosted a Belarusian child for a summer respite in her home for over 7 years. She has been inspired and guided by great spirits and mentors along her journey who gave her the courage and confidence to undertake the immense mission to manifest this divine vision, to re-enchant education and give the earth back to the arms of love. This is so amazing. Welcome to this amazing podcast. Yeah, it is you, Susan.
I've done all that.
That is, I can't believe it's one person.
Big things come in small packages.
And Karen is the Director of Communications and International Relations with Susan in this amazing Peace School. And Peace stands for the Paradigm Education Academy of Creative Enlightenment. Wow. So that's so incredible. I almost feel like I should broadcast this on a Sunday because both of you are saints. It's such a pleasure to have to interview two such sincere and passionate people who are focused on the enrichment, empowerment, and enlightenment of our future generation. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with me today. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, and thank you so much for asking to interview us. I'm just grateful for this opportunity to get this message out to the world so that we can really get this moving.
I'm so excited for you. Tell me, Susan, what inspired you to create this school?
Well, the beginning of it, we have to go back to the very beginning. And you mentioned a little bit about what happened to me in grade 1. But the reason I had that experience in grade 1 of disillusionment when I walked into the classroom was because I had a much more powerful adventure, I'll say. When I was 2 years old, I had received the MMR vaccination. Now, much of this information was relayed to me later, but I do remember getting the vaccination. I do remember being extremely ill, and I later learned what I had come down with was pneumonia, scarlet fever, and the mumps.
Oh, wow.
Right after the vaccination. So I also recall that the experience when I was feeling sick, I later learned my temperature went to 109.
Oh, my Lord.
Mm-hmm. So in that illness, I remember being in my body, and my grandmother was supposed to be coming to visit me. Our family, not just me, my whole family. I was going to meet her for the first time. She lived far away. And she was expected to come, and I was very excited about this. So in this turmoil in my body, I remember getting a little delirious, it seemed like, and I was hearing voices of talking about me and what was going on. I could hear these voices of these elders, I would call them. And then all of a sudden I thought, I have to get out of here. I saw some visions that disturbed me, and I had to get out of my body.
Oh, wow.
I remember next I was on the ceiling looking down at myself on the couch.
Wow.
And there was this lovely woman sitting beside me, and with white hair, much like mine now, and tinted purple, and this lovely cream-colored dress with puffy sleeves and smocking, and it was covered in forget-me-nots.
Wow.
And she was talking to me. Her hand was on my arms, and she was saying, "Hold on, dear. They're coming soon, dear. Hold on. Just hold on, dear." And I thought, oh, that's my grandmother. She's lovely.
Oh.
And I was so happy I got to see her. And the next thing I knew was a big flash of light. And then I was going through this mist. It was like coming up in a plane when you see the sun on the other side and you're coming through the clouds.
Yes.
It was beautiful. And there was one plane trip I had that reminded me of that one. It was just like, whoa. And when I got to the other side, all of a sudden I was right into the light, and there was this beautiful place that I landed on. And a woman reached out and took my hand.
Yes.
And she brought me to this beautiful place where it was such a powerful sense of love, peace, harmony, comfort, all those things, but magnified 100 times of what we've experienced on this side. It was the love that I experienced was way more than I experienced when I birthed my daughter, and that was amazing.
Wow.
So if you can imagine that.
I can.
And it was just all encompassing. There was music, there was the colors of the trees were much like Northern Ontario in the fall. And every color of the rainbow, though, more colors than you can imagine here, and everything was so translucent, and these beautiful, brilliant beings, they just radiated light and love. So I was very comfortable there, and I really did not want to go back to that body. But I remember then there was this group of elders. There was a man that I met. His name was Jesus, and I had never been to church before, so I didn't know any Jesus.
Yeah, you were too.
Yeah, I was too. But there was this group of elders he was speaking with at this table, and they were all discussing me again, and they were saying, well, she's really happy here. She doesn't want to go back. And then this one named Jesus said, but it's not her time yet.
Wow.
His fist came down on the table, and at the same time, my mother was unzipping an oxygen tent.
Wow.
And she said, oh, Susie, you're here, and I'm so glad to see you, but I'm so sorry your grandmother had to leave and you didn't get to meet her. And I said, but I did. And then I described her to my mother. And she was astonished. So what I saw on that side was amazing. I later learned that I had been in a coma for 2 weeks.
Wow.
During that time. That was like 2013. My oldest sister, who was 10 years older, told me this.
Wow.
So my life from that point was, I always saw the beauty in everything.
Yes.
And the love and the joy. And I lived in a family of there was 6 children. And you know, I went through a lot of
Stuff,
which we won't get into here. So when I entered school in grade 1, it was like, wow, like kindergarten was great.
Yes.
There was playfulness. We were singing songs. There was all that joy and exploration.
Right.
Grade 1, they sat you in these little, plunked you in these little desks. It was militant.
Yes.
In little rows, and we got the strap if we opened our mouth without putting our hand up. And then sometimes when you answered a question, if you didn't answer it right, you got the strap.
It was very fear-based.
It was fear-based.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. And you know, you had to ask for every little thing, and you couldn't speak out of joy.
Right.
For anything.
Yeah.
So I won't get into too much of the
detail. So there went all the beautiful color and sound and
all of that.
That high vibration.
Yes. And things were stifled. There was some creativity, but it was very stifled. It wasn't a huge expression, and there wasn't the exploration of the world, because we have to live in a world of magic. Rather than reading it in a book, we should be out there in it, because it's right outside the window.
Right.
So my head was always outside the window. I was always, my report cards always said satisfactory work. I did very well, and I excelled in math and all of those things. But daydreams. Right. Every single report card for up until grade 3.
Well, thank goodness you're the daydreamer, because look what you're manifesting. This is incredible. Thank you for sharing that incredible story.
Walking home from school every day, I would imagine how I was going to change the world when I grew up. And so that's when I'm going to leap ahead. You've already read the other. And leap to 2006. When the one day I felt I had accomplished a lot, and I've had many, many experiences and amazing teachers along the way, including a wonderful mentor, a spiritual guide, and who taught me a lot about life and music and creativity and consciousness and all of those things. So, and I moved, I'd had my children in 1988 was my son, and then my daughter in 1990. And I spent a lot of time with them in the school.
Yes.
And so I was seeing what was going on, and I was just disillusioned with everything. And then one day I was sitting there, I thought, well, I've accomplished as much. I had my media company and all of these, but I don't feel satisfied. I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose. I said, okay, God, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And the message came back, you must build the school of your dreams, of your childhood dreams. And so the next thing I needed to do, that was September, I needed to get the credentials to do that. So I picked up the phone. This was September 2nd. The schools were just starting back, the university. And I called the university and I said, what do I need to do to get in there right now to get my degree? And he said, well, that's all. You should have been doing this months ago. I said, I know, but I have to get in now to get my teacher's degree. So they gave me some information and sent me to the Guelph Center. And 2 weeks later, I was enrolled at Nipissing University.
Look at you
getting
go.
a Bachelor of Arts, yes, in science.
Wow.
And so it was kind of exciting, and I managed to get through it all.
You sure did.
And in 4 years.
Wow.
By 2010, I graduated, and right after I finished and graduated and finished all my ABQs, I was invited to a spiritual retreat in the Poconos.
Wow.
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, from some friends that I knew for a long time in
Yes.
spiritual teaching. So this was Barbara Young and her husband, Robert Young.
Yes.
Yes. So we went there to this retreat, and at the end of the retreat, it was determined that I was telling everyone what I was doing and what my plan was. He said, well, need to get started. We have to get going on this. I said, okay. So, what do we do? And I said, okay, I'm going to get started right now. And so on my drive home, it was an 11-hour drive.
Wow.
Which I did on the way down too, right after I finished my last day of teaching.
Wow.
Hopped in the car and got there at 1 o'clock. Actually, made it in 9 hours. And then on the way back, I thought, well, I have to get a name for this.
And that's how you came up with this.
So as I'm driving home, I kept seeing these billboards along the way. And the first billboard I saw had the word paradigm shift on it. And I thought, oh, I like that word paradigm. Mm-hmm. And then the next billboard I came across along the way, a little ways down, was an education academy. They were talking about uniforms for an academy. So Education Academy. I thought, oh, that sounds good. Paradigm Education Academy. I like that. And then further down the road, there was this old truck, and it looked like the trailer from The Wizard of Oz. And on the back of it, it had this, it was all made up cab on the back. And it had this big door, which had a Bible verse from, I think it was Corinthians or something. Mm-hmm. And it said creative enlightenment. And I thought, oh, I like that. So when I got home, I phoned my friends, Barbara, and I said, what do you think of this? Paradigm Education Academy of Creative Enlightenment. They said, we love it.
Ta-da!
So I registered it right away, and then the government sent me back this email. Well, I didn't know it was from them. I saw this email that said Peace Corps in the subject line. I thought, oh, somebody's looking for money. And I was about to delete it, because most of them I do, because I just didn't have any to give. And I thought, oh, I better open it. And here was my company, because it's a corporation. We registered it federally. So here we go.
Oh,
and there's the story.
That is amazing. Oh my God,
Yes.
how delightful.
So I made an AKA because that was too much of a mouthful. That was the AKA for Peace School.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's so delightful and impactful and powerful, and what an incredible manifester you are. I love that. I love that. Thank you. And Karen, you're also quite educated as well. You have your Bachelor in Communication Studies and your post-degree diploma in Intercultural Studies as well, which I'm sure is why Susan scooped you up to be quite a help as well. I'm going to come back to you in 1 second, Karen, because I want to carry on with what Laurel J. Campbell from Almaguin News had interviewed Susan on March 13th this year, 2020, and where you shared, Susan, that these schools are founded on imagination, creativity, and a very different kind of education where all children are honored for who they are and the gifts and abilities that they have. I just absolutely love this. So please share with us the unique ways that the children attending Peace School will learn.
Well, we did have a pilot school in 2013, which was Ministry of Education validated instantly after they visited, which was phenomenal. That's another story I won't get into right now. But the children, they sit in circles. Everything's in circles. Everything is delivered from, there's a whole smorgasbord, I call it, of ideas that are presented to them, and they select the way in which they are going to present it, or to understand it, or to explore it. So they go from their own learning style and develop their own, at their own level of capability.
Right.
And they present their learnings and their understandings from their level of understanding. There is no limitations, by the way.
I love that.
We have grades just to fit in with the system. So there is a whole new way of assessing these, because everything's infused with the arts. Every single bit of these studies that they do, it's interactive, it's engaging. So if you learn something in math, for example, then you will get an equation maybe, but then you will learn how to explore that. Because music, the way it's taught today, is like taking a music lesson and getting a music score, but never ever hearing the music. Math is in everything. It's an art form. It's in absolutely everything. And when you get to understand that, and the first lesson I teach them is Fibonacci's golden ratio.
Ooh.
So I give them the history on Fibonacci, like in the mathematics, and they get an understanding of how that works, that system works, and then they start to apply that to everything that they're doing.
Wow.
That's the very first lesson, right from kindergarten.
That is so cool.
Up to grade 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic right now during this time, and this is historic, and funny how COVID-19 is creating a new way of learning in itself, and how your Peace School, I feel, is going to be so accepted, and I think the registration is going to be through the roof, because parents right now are homeschooling their children, and that they're learning online, which you're going to talk about a whole lot more too very shortly. But that parents are getting a whole new picture of even their own children's way of learning. Because prior to this, they would ship them off to school, and it would be the teacher's job to figure out, or even maybe not even figure out, what little Johnny is sitting in his seat in a classroom, probably struggling on how to learn, as you say, in this kind of militant way of learning what the teacher at the front of the class is teaching them, from the blackboard or from the computer or from. This is going to be so amazing. I love what you are offering, and I think this time and what everybody's experiencing is just going to really introduce and enhance what your genius has created. So yay!
Well, it's not my genius. It's the genius of the universe.
The universe is really, really, really
I'm just open to it, and I listen really well.
I'm loving the serendipitous alignment that's happening right now. I'm sorry for the fallout of how this is happening for some people, but I'm loving the alignment that is also happening, and that the timing of this interview and having met you, thanks to Karen as well.
Yes. Well, Karen has a big role in this. And
she really does.
Particularly in extending this to the world.
Yes.
And the connections that she's made.
Karen, why don't you enlighten us on how your role will come into this? How are you going to extend this to the rest of the world, Karen?
Can I just add one little thing about Karen?
Yes.
It was how we met some years ago, and I just instantly connected with her and her husband when they moved here. I met her husband first at a Chamber of Commerce thing, and then I later met Karen, but I just felt such a connection with her. And then we worked together at the university when I was going there, because I did a practicum in Ecuador. And she was in charge of working with those groups that were going there. And so we had more of a connection then. And then when she left Nipissing, we got together. She was moved on and invited me over for lunch, and we were discussing what had happened to her there. We won't get into the details of that, but we were just going to have about an hour-long lunch, and it ended up going on for 5 hours. And we were talking about her and about me and about her connections, with the other countries and the job that she was doing, the amazing job. And it was so synergist. That moment, there was such a synergy. And I'm going to let her tell you that part of the story from where we connected with the group in Kenya, maybe.
Oh, in Kenya. All right, Karen, it's up to you.
Sure. Well, Susan got it right. That's how we got connected. And we've been brainstorming and communicating and collaborating ever since. So it had a lot to do with I've been involved in international education for 25 years. First of all, 20 years at two different universities, Wilfrid Laurier University and then Nipissing University for the latter 12 years in the role of the international director, where I did coordinate all the international initiatives for the university, coordinated a number of student exchanges where students could come and go from different countries, internships, volunteer experiences, etc. And it was during that time that I was involved in working in collaborative projects. They often call consortium projects. I got a number of government grants that enabled students to be more mobile and actually do things for longer periods of time. And I started not only working on concepts with some schools like bioenergy, for example. It's the idea of using wood as an alternative resource for energy. And I'm realizing, working with people in places like Finland, Slovakia, Hungary, etc., that we all come from different perspectives as to how we do things. And it was evident in that project where professors actually were mobile as well, and they were learning how to utilize different wood sources and how to produce energy in different ways. So it just blossomed and opened my mind and saying, we've got so much we can learn from each other. It's not only the Western world that knows how to do things right, supposedly. So, I got involved in some development projects then in Ghana, in Kenya. And one particular project in Kenya involved the relationship between two universities, and then the students from Canada who I brought over there worked in an internship, one in nursing, or two in nursing, and one in teacher education, and the other young woman, a geography student, worked in water management projects. And what they had to do was figure out how they were interrelated, how they were all connected. So what is it about health, care, washing hands, for example, which we all know a lot about today, but it was very new when our students introduced that to some rural communities in Kenya.
Wow.
And you see, it's these things that it all comes around, and then you realize there's so many ways that we can help others, and we can also learn from them, learn the sense of community. And isn't it interesting how all of these are coming together right now during this pandemic situation we're all in around the world?
It's so true, Karen. It's so true.
And so my main colleague there, I won't say his full name, but his name is Joey, and he has now moved on from the university as well, and he is actually in charge of a collaborative adventure in Eastern Europe called the Eastern African Curriculum Director. He is responsible for the curriculum. This is called from kindergarten through university, for 6 countries, including Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. So he's in a very influential position in his work that he is now collaborating with all of these countries and at very high levels of government. So it's amazing that we still have this awesome friendship that was developed in 2010. And he is now very keen. I've introduced him to Susan. Obviously, Susan's told him some of her stories that you've just heard as well. And there was an alignment, an understanding that immediately developed. So we're continuing to work with Joey in looking first at establishing a peace school that would be connected with an organization that he's already involved with called SRI, Sustainable Rural Initiatives Kenya. And it's located near Kisumu. In any case,
can I interject for one little second?
Sure. Yeah.
I should point out that at the time when you introduced me to him, what you did was sent him the website.
Yes.
And at that time, Kenya was getting rid of the staunch UK education system and wanting to replace it with something that was more creative based. And so he took that information from Peace School and delivered it to the people in this conference of the Ministry of Education in Kenya.
Oh.
To get an idea of this. And they said, this is the type of curriculum that we want for our children.
And have they applied it there?
Well, that's what we're working on.
Oh, that's
amazing.
amazing.
So that's how this relationship developed, because thanks to Karen making this connection at that perfect timing. Mm-hmm. It was perfect timing. And that was what, 2016?
Approximately, yeah 16, 17. Yeah,
16, it might have been 17. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So we have been working together to develop that with them and bring a peace school there, and we're working with Sustainable Rural Initiatives, his other organization that he has. Now carry on, Karen, sorry.
No, that's fine. No, that's an integral part of this. I was really just going to finish that part of the conversation by saying how important intercultural relations are. And this is what I feel that I can help to bring to Peace School as well, is my extensive knowledge and experiences, having traveled to over 30 countries and working with people from across so many countries, including the international students who have come and learned here, professors and students, but mostly students. I'm currently teaching international students at Canada College in a course called International Business as well.
That's just so amazing how connected, and the connections just zipped up just so perfectly, and how your history and your career and where you have traveled and the connections you made have intermingled perfectly with the vision that Susan has for this school, and how it's unfolding so perfectly. And Susan, you also expressed that the school will be community-oriented and all green, with a permaculture and a research lab and off-the-grid new technologies. And you'll have people all over the world that are able to help us in the building of it. And yes. I think this is kind of what Karen was explaining. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of express how this is going to unfold?
Yes. Now, after we did our pilot year, I have connected with a number of people around the globe. I was with the New Earth Nation group with Sasha Stone in the UK. I was sitting on his management team, and I was working as a director of their learning faculty. And that was a great experience, but I then moved on to other things. And the plan is now, with the people that I connected with there are people who are architects, world-renowned architects and scientists, et cetera, et cetera. There's Michael Tellinger, Michael Rice, a bioarchitect. I've met Ibrahim Karim, who is the founder of biogeometry out of Cairo, who is one who's out to fix the world from all these electromagnetic frequencies, and
yes.
To heal the earth, and through architecture as well. And design. Reinhold Ziegler from Synergy International, and Reinhold has built eco-communities in Haiti after the earthquake, as well as in Hawaii, and he's Africa, and he's got other projects on the go. But he's on our board of directors.
Wow.
Reinhold, Lauren Zanier, who is one of the top scientists in the world, who actually taught Dr. Emoto about the water technology. He was his professor, and that was his study.
Wow.
And he said he's only touched on the surface of what that's all about. So this is
I do
phenomenal.
that with my water.
Yeah, yes, you just put love in your water and you're all good. Love is important. And Lauren is also a director on our board.
Wow.
So we have all these people. He will be heading up the research lab that we will have. So we'll be learning about new technologies. He's invented over 250 technologies for health, for healing and health, and also energies for new clean energies for the world, above and beyond what's already here, because it's more of that level of Tesla.
Yeah, wow.
Is that we're coming at. And so we will have the research labs on the sites, and the scientists that work there will be mentoring the students who are in the school. The schools are set up in a way that they're community oriented, so the children will all go out into the community, but the community will also come in. We will be bringing in elders, the ancient teachings, wisdoms from the First Nations people, all communities. There is no
Exclusions.
There's no exclusions, zero exclusions. We are all one.
All right, sign me up. I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in. I am in. This is amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. It's hard to stay focused because I just want to keep, I'm looking in your eyes and I'm sinking into your brain, and I'm mesmerized here. Okay, next question. So, do we want to talk about the Peace Summer Camp?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Great. Okay.
Yes,
So you'll be offering local kids ages 7 to 13 a chance to experience the Peace School, the little bit of the vibe of it, by attending Peace Summer Camp. And so with this special circumstance this year, tell me how you're going to manage that.
Well, what we've done, I'll just suggest people can go to the website, peaceworld.ca, peaceworld.ca, and you can look that up to see what the STEAM camp, it's a STEAM camp.
Yes,
it's
STEAM.
Science, technology,
Yes.
environment, arts, math, and music. Then we got 2 M's on the end.
Science, technology, arts, math, and music.
Environment.
Environment. Yes.
Environment's a very key part,
Yes.
because we've disconnected with nature, and we need to get back to that. So this will give an example. The camp is set up to do that. We were planning to do it in Callender, in the town of Callender, at the community center. In light of the situation right now, we are considering highly postponing it.
Yes.
But do look up online what we've got planned there. There will be opportunities for people to get jobs working there in all facets, as well as, because we will be doing field trips to like Board's Honey and to Horseability, and all these places. They'll have an opportunity to have the hands-on experience. And a farm like Piebird Farm.
All my favorite people.
Yes. And as well, as I said, this probably be postponed till next year.
Yes.
But do look it up, because what we're going to do in lieu of this, because of this situation, is we're building an online platform.
I love it.
And it'll be more interactive lessons that you will have. You'll be able to interact not only with whoever's teaching the particular course. And oh, by the way, I should mention, most importantly, this is founded on consciousness.
I love it.
The school is founded on consciousness. So we start our days with meditations, etc.
Higher consciousness.
Higher consciousness, just to get a focus and bring everyone together.
I love it.
Yes. And so what we'll do in this platform, I've developed a whole curriculum to put online already. We will also have an online program for teaching those who wish to work in peace schools how this is, because it's completely different. It's child focused, not teacher focused. So we're not pushing information into a child. We're bringing it out, because all wisdom is really held in the heart. It's not in the head. And when we can realize that, that is what's going to heal this situation with the COVID virus, because it's all fear-based, and fear is the antithesis of love. It's not hate, it's fear. And when we are fearful, we lose sight, we get into our heads, and we lose the connection to our heart.
You got it.
So if you just consider the Dr. Emoto and the water and the love and all of those things, you will find that everything starts to transform. And instead of going into the dark, we put on the light. We're turning on the lights.
Lights on. Can you
Yes.
feel this?
And
Everybody's
so
feeling
when
this?
there's something being learned online, they will go out and explore it. I don't want them sitting on their computers. I want them to, here's your lesson, now go out and explore the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Sign me up again. This is so great. Good. So tell me, how can our community support your Peace School? How can the community get involved? Well, go to your website.
Yeah, please
learn more.
Please go to the website, peace-school.org. You can learn more about it, but do get in touch with me. And we're always looking for volunteers right now as we're getting this going. We will be needing people to work to develop courses online to present them. So if this is something that is in your wheelhouse, please get in touch with me. I am very excited to meet with anyone who has this in their heart and in their mind, that they want the best for their children, and they want a healthy, well-balanced, and consciously developed child who has reached their full potentiality and not been molded, put into a mold. We are breaking the molds. We are coming out of the box, and all children are going to learn to develop an understanding of and meaning, have meaning in their life. That is the most important thing, that we all have meaning, because we all have a purpose.
Yes.
We all have a place. And that's one thing I know for certain since I was 2.
Yay! Oh my goodness. Oh wow. I'm sad that how it happened to you, but I'm so glad that you're living your purpose. And Karen, is there anything that you want to add to this?
I think Susan summed it up really nicely, and I think the greatest challenge at this point is for people to really grasp and understand how different this learning opportunity can be for children, and realize that it's unique for our region, definitely.
I think we're blessed.
But this is happening around the world in different ways, in different pockets. For example, the Finland education system, etc. So we are on the cusp of the new reality in education.
I agree.
And we plan to bring this around the globe.
It is a cusp.
We plan to bring it around the globe, and we have promised funding to be able to do that, to build 25 schools around the globe.
Oh, that's
and
exciting.
completely fund them.
Oh, how wonderful.
Like, we're just waiting for it to roll out. Once all of this silliness that has been created and manufactured in our world blows over, and people start coming together in a loving and healing way, and reconnecting with nature is key.
Yes.
Reconnect with nature. We are interdependent on nature.
Yes.
All of us. And we have to connect with that, because that sustains us. That world does not need us. We need this world. So we need clean water. We need forests that are lush and thriving. And this COVID virus right now is giving the world a break.
Yes.
And I think this is the blessing. Thank God.
Yes. Amen. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been such a blessing. This is truly divine timing. And I cannot thank both of you enough. So thank you so much, Susan Terry and Karen Strang.
Thank you, Susie.
With that, I will leave you both and say my little farewell. And so please remember the triad of caring. Subscribe to this podcast, share with friends, and do not forget to like me. For more information or to contact me, please visit my website at harmonyhelps.ca. I'm not a licensed therapist. The information and advice that I'm providing is based on my vast and tumultuous life experience, as well as lessons that I have learned. In a nutshell, please use common sense. May peace and harmony be in your world. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.